This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome to the X&C Podcast, everybody. Holy smokes, what a crazy week. It is going to be a bombastic show. I am the host, Colteastwood, and I wouldn't be here without my excellent co-host, or also the other host, Mag, Middle-Aged Game Guy is here. We actually crossed the streams this week. I just came home from Canada. He just came home from the United States, but we're on opposite ends, but yes. Whatever. How you doing, Mag?
Never crossed the streams. Dan Aykroyd, 1984.
Yep.
Never crossed the streams. But we crossed the streams. Yes, you crossed into my country illegally, obviously. Hide your cats. And then also, I ended up, of course, in the southern United States, getting my cowboy on for 4 days, and it was quite a blast as always. And of course, I had Hurricane Helen right up my ass. And my plane was flopping around all over the place like a fish out of water. I honestly thought I was going to die. It was the scariest thing. First of all, I don't like to fly, period. I don't like to fly at all.
Tough guy, but don't like to fly.
No, I'm not a tough guy. I'm a total pussy. I'm telling you right now, I was almost in tears. And you know what the crazy thing is? The flight crew. You know what they always say when you're on a plane? They're saying, listen, if you're scared, hi, Connor, I see you in there, buddy.
Risk it.
Risk it, shut up. That's what your people do. But anyways, they always say that when you're nervous on a plane, look at the flight crew. Just stare at them. Just look at them. If they look totally calm and relaxed and they're still serving coffee and whatever, they're just like, would you like a coffee? Would you like a warm towel for your face? If they're still doing that, there's nothing to worry about. This flight, for the first hour, you know when they strap in with the shoulder straps, like in the special chairs in the front by the cockpit?
Yeah.
You know that they didn't even get out of those chairs for the first hour? They were looking at each other with like this look. Like the wide-eyed look. Like they were scared crapless. And of course I'm staring at them like a psychopath because I'm like this, right? Because I'm staring at them. I'm 4 rows back. And I'm just staring at him going, we're going to die on this plane. And anyways, eventually they came out of their seats. Then the pilot comes on and he goes, no hot beverages on this flight at all. And this and that, whatever. Obviously he knew something was going on. About 20 minutes later, he says to the flight crew as they're bringing around like water and like pretzels or whatever, right? You know, and then as they're doing that, he goes to them. He says, flight crew, please put away all drinks and all things and secure everything and get back to your seats and secure yourself in. And then, of course, I started swearing. I'm like, die this f***ing plane. It was terrifying, to say the least.
Sucks.
Oh, dude, it was awful.
We were messaging each other the other night about that, and you said that you felt like you're going to die, and I did not take that lightly because I'm like, if Mag was scared, like you had to be puckered up. And I didn't ask you how long it was, but it was for like a good hour or so.
Almost the whole flight. As soon as we crossed the Canadian side, obviously it calmed down because our weather up here is pretty tame. When it comes, I mean, you know, obviously we get snow and stuff, but I meant tame in terms of like wind and. We don't get hurricanes up here. We don't get tornadoes. Well, tornadoes is so rare. I mean, you might catch a glimpse of a unicorn before you see a tornado up in this parts, right? So once we crossed over the Buffalo into Toronto, it was like pretty much smooth sailing. So it was all right. But my God, like we were just on the tail end of Tennessee as Helen was kind of moving into Tennessee. So we were catching all of that smoke, man. It was not fun. But anyways, what are you gonna do? What are you going to do? And actually, Connor, I saw what you said in the chat there, dude. The flight crew did say something at the end of the flight. They're like, well, that wasn't fun.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, she did on the whatever, on the radio thingy. So like they recognized that was like terrifying. So yeah, but I mean, it can't be any worse than my brother. My brother was flying to Chicago for business and lightning hit his plane.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Oh,
and
that's
I'm
good.
He said, he goes, I was drinking a lot on the plane. So he goes, he goes, it was the scariest thing he'd ever experienced is the lightning struck the plane. I'm like, geez, Lord. But anyways, let's get back to gaming, folks. What are we going to talk about today, Colt? We did there's a lot of stuff that went on.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and Ubisoft is the name of the really all of the game, of everything encompassing holy hell that's been going on in gaming. And I just want to start off by saying Ubisoft has been for many years one of my favorite purveyor of games.
I agree.
Like, typically for me, Ubisoft makes this type of game over here, and then this chunk. Like, they're kind of split in the middle. They make these service-based games, then they make these open-world action-adventure games. And I typically have liked or loved most of their games on the one half, like For Honor and stuff like that. I don't really like, or Just Dance, whatever. But Ubisoft has always been, for a couple of decades, or at least a full decade, they've been really great. And then lately, since I would say Valhalla era, some people would say since Origins and Odyssey, they've kind of tanked. We love those games, right?
They're some of my favorite games of last generation.
Yeah, I mean, I would take them as an Assassin's Creed game. I love them. Take them as a not Assassin's Creed game. You and I love them, right? And
yep.
I just got to say, I have learned so much. And there's this guy Overlord in the chat who wants to get a gotcha moment on me. It's like, you don't get one, because I have been humbled to no end from what I learned. There was a small 5-second gameplay segment for Assassin's Creed Shadows that sort of leaked a couple of weeks ago, and I saw it and I watched it. It poured over I was like, oh my gosh! And I made this video because I was kind of putting the stuff aside and saying, but I love Assassin's Creed. Hopefully this game's great. So I made this video about why this game is so great. And boy, did I get hate, and rightfully so, because people are really upset. But I didn't understand how far-reaching the problems were until Hargeet Chani. You'll find Hargeet Chani in every podcast that has ever existed. Hargeet Chani, my good friend, sent me a video of a young Japanese couple that broke down everything wrong with the gameplay they've been showing. Structural, cultural, everything references. Like, they didn't even really do their homework. They didn't use a Japanese consultant. They phoned it in, like, hey, everyone wants feudal Japan, here you go. We know how to do games in other countries. And I really had my eyes open, but even more has gone on since then, and we're going to dive into it. I just want to say right here, I really want to apologize for being so wrong. I'm not going to apologize for being excited. I am still... AC Shadows is at my top anticipated game, no matter what. I hope they get it right. We'll get into that today. But boy, oh boy, did I have a learning lesson this past couple weeks. So anyway, before we get into all that, Meg, today we're going to be talking about the PS5 Pro. We're going to be talking about the State of Play reveals. Wow, that's a good show. We're going to talk, most of this will be about Ubisoft, and we're going to talk a little bit about what Xbox has cooking. They've been quietly kind of dodging some bullets lately. So before we get started, I just want to say I have been not playing a whole lot. I spent the last 4 days in Vancouver, BC with my wife. We celebrated 25 years of being married. And I can tell you right now that it feels like we've been married like 5 years. It goes by so fast. It's amazing.
That is the sign of a quality marriage, is that you don't feel like I did the same thing with my wife. My wife and I have been together since 2006. We got married in 2011. I got it tattooed on me because I always forget dates.
Oh.
I got literally, I'm not kidding. You know that my whole right arm, I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And there's your locker combination.
I have 8. Yeah, no kidding. I got 8 tattoos on my arm, and they're all dates. So it's kind of funny when I go to the bank and they're like, so Mr. Your son's birthday is? And I'm like, I'm reading my arm going, October.
You're like Michael Schofield from Prison Break. You're like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how you get into the sewers.
We've been married since 2011, so not as long as you, but we were together for 5 years before that. And honestly, it feels like we met yesterday. Like it does, like, you know what I mean? Like you feel like that almost 18 years, almost 19 years now. Just where did it go? And that's a good sign. You know what I'm saying? That's a good sign. Same with you, buddy. I mean, you got 25 years under your belt, and it feels like it just happened. That means that you've met the right person. If you've been together for a year and it feels like an eternity, and you're looking for like a burlap sack to put him in and drop him in the lake,
then I'd be married to risk it. Yeah, that's what it would be like.
Then you get married to risk it. Yeah, and people ask me why I got married so late. I didn't get married till I was 37. And,
oh, geez.
Yeah, well, there was a reason for that. It's because I slayed many dragons, but I didn't. I had to find my princess, right? So I found him, but that's just the way it goes because you just know. You just know. When it's right, you just know. And
But you didn't marry a dragon, did you? You're not like Donkey from Shrek.
When she gets mad, yeah. But not mad at me. I'm a gem.
You are an angel.
Anyways, I'm an angel. Yes, I'm an angel. Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, yes, congratulations again. So yeah, that's. But you know what? I'm sure that you're gonna get back into the gaming chair and get going because there's a lot of stuff coming up and a lot of stuff to catch up.
Yeah.
On, so.
I tried Shattered Space like 20 minutes in while I was getting the show ready. So I can't even tell you. I don't know. I haven't really played it, but I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition. And I played it when it came out. I think I put like 10 hours into it, and then I just gave up. Something else came out, but I was trying to play it. I'm like, oh, this is kind of good. I really needed like some big open game until like Veilguard or something else comes out, but it's kind of dicey. What have you been playing?
You mean Fortnite?
Yeah, Fortnite.
Sorry, that's what I call it. I call it Dragon Age Fortnite.
You know the funny thing about that, because we're not going to talk about Dragon Age Veilguard probably tonight, but I agree with the sentiment about the Fortnite look, but it's still, if you stop and look at it, it's still a pretty cool looking game. It's just weird that Dragon Age typically was like whatever realism was at the time, and this was very stylized. So it's kind of eye candy, but wasn't what I wanted. But I think people are pretty impressed with the game so far.
If it doesn't have Avatar dances, then I don't want to play it. Yeah, like if it doesn't have Fortnite dances, then I'm not playing that stupid game. I'm not playing a stupid game if you don't have Fortnite dances. Anyways, in all seriousness, what I've been playing before I get into that, Dakota Hunter in the chat, there has been zero news in the last, I guess, 5 months now, or updates as to the Marcus Phoenix collection. It has gone completely and utterly quiet. So I've got nothing new for you, dude. But I assure you it exists. Whatever they do to it, I don't know, but I know that it exists, and I know that they've been playing. They've played it, they've utilized it, they've tried it, they've experimented with it. Beyond that, I don't even know who the hell knows how long it's going to be, or when it's going to come, or what's going to happen. But it's been awfully quiet in that respect. A lot more news on the other end of the stick, but we'll get into that when we get into the show. As for what I'm playing, Avatar. I started playing. Speaking of Ubisoft, funny enough, I finally got that platinum trophy on the First Ascendant. That was a torture session. It's a great game, fabulous game. I loved every minute of it. So much fun. Really enjoyed it. Great gameplay, great graphics, the whole 9 yards. A lot of fun. But my God, the grind. The grind was beyond words. The last 35 to 40 hours was just a grind for one trophy. I swear on my life. And that was just to get that one. And of course, a lot of the people, if you actually look at other people, whether it's achievements or trophies, I follow them all. I follow, for Xbox, I'm on, True Achievements, the website.
Yeah.
So trueachievements.com. And then, of course, and then on the trophy side, I follow whatever it is, True Trophies. That's the one trophy / achievement that everybody's missing. I finally got that one, and I got the platinum on it. It was a nightmare. But I mean, it was a great game. Had a great time. Now I'm on to Avatar. I'm doing a PlayStation 5 kick right now. I'm on Avatar. I'm on Astrobot, and I'm just buzzing through Lego Harry Potter years 1 to 4 right now. Waiting. Basically, I'm doing all that, and I'm hoping to wrap all those up before Call of Duty drops.
Since we're on the Ubisoft kick tonight, I was really impressed with Avatar, Pandora's Box of Tomorrowland, Forever, whatever it's called. I liked it for the first half. How are you taking it in so far?
I got to tell you, the first couple of hours was actually like dreadfully boring because
you're inside some lab.
Like, well, there's that. No, actually, it wasn't even that. It was when I was in Pandora. So you do the lab part. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you could do this the beginning part. You're out in Pandora, but then you're with the indigenous people of Pandora, right? So you're learning their cultures, you're learning their ways. They're showing you how to cook, how to get resources, how to build craft arrows and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was so boring to me because I've watched 6 hours of Avatar on the screen between two films, 7 if you include the director's cuts. I already know their whole culture. I don't need to do this all over again. Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my God, Why am I cooking shrimp and mushrooms on a stone? Like, please
And they
just
go,
let me play this goddamn game. Yeah.
Well, they cook. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the first like 2 or 3 hours in Pandora were just dreadful because it was so slow. But then
Mag. That
yes,
when you're cooking, it's like a lettuce leaf and a piece of fruit and some meat.
yeah.
That's me right now. I'm actually going to, slim down a little bit. I'm not drinking Mountain Dew anymore because you have made me so guilty every week when you're like,
dude,
I'm drinking water, I'm working out, I don't drink soda, and I'm over there with a 79 ounce, Mountain Dew.
No, you got to cut that crap out, man. You got to cut that crap out. When I was in the U.S., okay, I'm watching these people just crushing Dr. Peppers and like, well, not everybody. You know what? I will say this: a lot of the people that I saw in Tennessee were actually pretty much in shape and looking pretty good. Okay. But my God, there is a subsect of people that were crushing Mountain Dew like they practically had it in an IV bag, like stuffed right into their arm. And I'm like, guys, stop. Yeah, cut it out, man. So Colt, I want you to live longer. So cut out the sugar. You don't have to cut out the sugar entirely. You can have sugar, but you got to exercise to burn that sugar off and turn it into fuel. Not sit on your butt and drink Mountain Dew while you talk to me.
Does the N in X and C stand for nutrition?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it stands for.
Yeah. No, now, I will be doing. Yeah, I will be doing better. But
good.
Anyway,
as Pandora opens up and the game opens up, and then now you actually have like a story. You actually know what's going on. Who's the protagonist? Who's the antagonist? What's happening? We know the conflict now. Now there's something. Now you know what to do. You have a direction as opposed to just cooking mushrooms and shrimp in a lettuce leaf. Now we're like, okay, now we're doing something, right? So then a lot of people like attributed it to like a Far Cry kind of vibe in Pandora, which it kind of is. You're dealing with the sky. You're kind of dealing with the sky people and their bases and this and that. And you got weapons and things of that sort. And it's a lot of fun. So once the game opens up, then I'm like, okay, now I'm in my element. Leave me alone. I don't care about all this dogma. Give me the damn game. Let me play it. Right? Let me play it my way. Let me go explore my way. Let me go liberate forts and this and that and bases and all that kind of stuff and just go nuts and then be able to explore and do what I got to do. Now that that's happened, the game is great. So for I know a lot of people are saying what Ubisoft this and that, especially lately, but Avatar is a lot of fun.
It doesn't really have very good stealth. Like you can't, the arrows are this big around the wood on them, right? And you kill an enemy from a distance and everybody's alerted. That kind of ticks me. Like they don't have like the fortresses that you could take on like you would think in Far Cry. And if it had that, I think it might have been more wonderful. Audience and chat, like if you're here watching, hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Let us know if you played Avatar, the Frontiers of Pandora. That's what it's called. Yeah, thank you, man.
You could probably get it for like $1.99 right now because Ubisoft games go on sale so fast. Everybody's like, are you going to get AC Shadows right away? And I'm like, why? And I'm like, by March, it'll be like $6.
I mean, I want to play AC Shadows the moment it comes out. Like, even if they put it out tomorrow, but this game, Avatar, I thought, it's probably worth $40 for people who want to play something like this, and it fell apart for me. And I've told the story on the show; it just kind of made you grind too many missions. But
yeah, that's the thing. Like when you get into some of those Ubisoft games, especially the bigger ones, like for example, AC Odyssey. I played that on Xbox, and I got the full 1850 out of 1850 achievements. That includes all the DLC. It was a strange number to land on 1850. So all the DLC equaled up to 850 achievement points, which I thought was weird. But anyways, to do that took 272 hours. Exactly. So I only remember that because I have screenshot. I screenshot my completions, whatever. And I know. So yeah, it took me 272 hours to get the 1850 out of 1850 on Odyssey. But I adored that game. And I loved every minute of it. And I explored every square pixel of that game, and did everything that you could possibly do in the game, and obviously, like I said, the DLC. So
everybody's sorry.
No, I was just gonna say sometimes when it grabs you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will say, "Oh, Ubisoft's been trashed." We're gonna get into Ubisoft in just a couple minutes. Ubisoft is trash. Like they went down ever since Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I don't think Assassin's Creed Odyssey is really highly rated. I'm looking right now; it's an 84 on OpenCritic across PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So it's not stellar.
What is?
Odyssey, one of our favorites. I have a hard time choosing between.
That's honestly my top 5 games of the entire generation.
I think it's up there in my top 10. I don't know exactly what my top 10 of the generation are, but yeah, I think Odyssey and Red Dead and I mean those.
I would have said Odyssey, Red Dead, 3. Resident Evil 7, and Dying Light, the original.
Dying Light 1, is up my top 10.
They were like, those are my top 5. That was my top 4. I know there's a 5 in there somewhere, but Anyway,
I don't know. I don't get mad when people say that Assassin's Creed died when they made it like an open world RPG, but I'm like, but those games are still really good and they're really highly rated. And I have a hard time. Origins is also in my top 10. Like I have a hard time picking.
Too.
I love it.
They were great. That was a great one too. The only one that really pissed me off was AC Valhalla.
Yeah.
Is it? AC Valhalla, I put in 150, 160 hours into that game, and then the game bugged out, and I couldn't get 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements because a mission bugged out, and then they were like, "Oh, we're patching everything," so they did all these patches, and they never patched that one thing, and I wasn't able to complete it. So it might be a me problem. Ethan Valdez, I just saw you add me. Snackix here in the chat said the same thing. He's just like, he couldn't stop playing AC Odyssey. It's the only one that he got 100% on.
Blackjack says Origins is a grindy mess. There might be some grindy stuff, but that game is definitely not a mess. It's highly polished.
Miguel Roman, they are doing an Assassin's Creed 1 remake, just so you know.
Okay, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff we need to get into. Let me grab a couple of supers before we get rolling into that, because I'm wondering if we should just jump into that, because I have a couple of things I want to bring up. Maybe I'll bring up one of the PlayStation things first, because it will segue in. We got Brewhood with a member chat. It says, let's mother effing go. Colt and Mag, thank you for being awesome sauce. We need to escape from reality. So grateful. Yeah, we will definitely try to help you escape from the reality, because the news has been depressing if you're supposed to be excited, and I know some people can sideline it. Neville Steck, thank you so much for the chat. It says, aloha, Mag and Colteastwood. Hope you gentlemen are well. Aloha to all gamers. Hope everyone is healthy and safe. Mahalo. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling very healthy. I know Mag always is. And did you pack an extra pair of underwear for that flight, Mag, or did you just shove it down there in the middle?
That's one I'm never going to forget. I'll tell you one thing. Next flight, I don't care if it's a smooth sailing as if I'm like in the sky with Perseus and that bloody horse flying around and everything's beautiful. I'm going to take double Ativan, stick them under my tongue and melt it like a 1960s acid trip. And I'm going to be I'm going to be so effing stoned that I wouldn't even care what happened. The plane could literally disappear and I could end up on the island from the show Lost and I wouldn't even know where the hell I was. I'd be like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Well, all right, we're on the beach.
Yeah, it's like, is that a smoke monster? Cool. All right, bro, let's go. I'm going to be so stoned on my next flight. My next flight is going to be Germany. So I'm not looking forward to that. I don't like flying over the water, especially over the Atlantic. I mean, like, Jesus. I mean, you see what happens when it gets in your head? What happens if you're in the middle of the ocean? What are you going to do? Emergency land in the ocean? What the hell are you talking about?
You can't think that way. If you're going to make a long flight, I learned on my way back from London, because that was like it's actually a 14-hour trip total. I learned no caffeine. At the airport, I had a big like meat sandwich. Well, not figuratively. I had like a big like pastrami sandwich, and then I got like a orange crush. No caffeine. And I ate those. I got a full stomach, no caffeine, and a couple hours in the flight, I'm like carved out. And I was able to sleep.
Oh man, I wish I could do that.
But I don't have the nerves thing, bro. I just have
it's
just
let
me
flying.
out. I'm like, let me out.
It's just flying. It's just the flying. It's nothing else. It's like on a train, on a boat, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can go 200 miles an hour. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. But it's the plane. Is because the plane, you're all the way up there. There's nothing you could do. Game adaptation newscast. Yes, you're right. Valhalla was the first game I also played on my Series X when I got it back in 2020. Yeah, that was the first game I cranked up, and I was just like, man, that was awesome. And you could see right away, like the 60 FPS. I was like, wow, look at that.
Oh, and it looked phenomenal, even though the scope of the game didn't look as like breathtaking as Odyssey. Even Far Cry 6, which a lot of people probably didn't even play that. It was beautiful.
I loved Far Cry 6.
High resolution, ran at 60. Yep. We were in for a treat for the generation, and then things kind of started to get a little iffy. Will Brokeboy Lewis, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, Meg, did you see Asmon's Gold video? Sony is effed, showing side by side of Astrobot and various Nintendo games almost matching level for level. And I'll add to Will Brokeboy's chat, mechanic for mechanic and character for character. I watched this actually today while I was eating lunch, and games borrow all the time. But did you see this thing, Meg?
No, I didn't see anything about it. I
somebody
didn't see anything
made
about the game.
Somebody made a split screen video where Astrobot was on your left, and then Mario, mostly Mario, some Kirby and some other stuff were on the right, and they lined up shot for shot of all of the mechanics that you play in Astrobot, and I don't think they're especially saying, look, they totally ripped it off. It's these things happen in video games, but Astrobot definitely like borrowed a lot of stuff. Is Nintendo going to sue them because they've been very sue happy?
Not with Sony. They will be. They're very sue happy with smaller YouTubers for some reason because they're a bunch of bullies. They like to pick on the smaller people and they're like, oh, we're gonna strike your content and this and that, blah blah. That's why when I launched the channel, I am never ever going to cover anything Nintendo ever. I don't care if Nintendo shows up at my door and dumps 20 Switch 2s on my door. I'm just gonna hand the box back and say, take your PS3 level console for 2025 and get it out of my house. Just go away.
People always say, Cole, why don't you cover Nintendo as well? It's like, well,
because they're a-holes. That's why.
Yeah, you cannot. And that's not the only reason. Like, I don't play those games, but if I got into Nintendo games like other people do, I could never put their footage up on the channel. I've seen people put short NES things that get flagged or struck.
It's ridiculous.
They're
Nerds
dumb.
and Other Legends. That's hilarious, by the way. Your reference to Airplane was noted.
What did he say? Because I was going to reference Airplane too.
He says,
sorry.
Well, he says in case of an emergency, you just have to inflate the inflatable pilot, and then you have to blow the tube in his lap. That was from the movie. It's so good. Anyways, yeah. And by the way, Risk It, can you calm down? The guy's been gone for like weeks and weeks and months. Everything's been quiet in the chat. Been all right. All of a sudden, Risk It's here. Every time I look at the chat, I see 17 green names, and it's all his lousy name. Yapping away, talking smack. He's harassing that blue number. I could totally see it. He's harassing me, as a matter of fact. Mods, can we ban him for about a year or so?
Hey, I can't wait till I bring him on, and I'll just like put you two together, and then I'll leave the room. It'll be great.
You know what? I mean, this guy's in the chat all the time. You might as well just tell him to come on the show. It's not like he's sleeping. Or it's not like, well, mind you, it's in Australia. It's like it's already Thursday over there. I'm just kidding. But anyway,
it is like it's Tuesday, like at 11 o'clock or something, but depending on where they're at. Connor Gurady says, thank you so much for the €24 super chat. Says, have you seen Asmon's Gold reaction to Ubisoft, how the devs and fake Japanese report? Let's get right into that. But first, before we do, the state of play happened. I thought, that's cool. They're showing some cool stuff for PS5. And then they revealed Ghost of Yotei, and I am a big Ghost of Tsushima fan. Fantastic. It's like right up my alley. Open world, Assassin's Creed-like, samurai, everything. It's what I want. It's what we love. This is the sequel. People have been talking about it for a week because we have a Monday show. It's been 6 days since it's revealed, but the main character is a female, and I think the game looks really great. A couple of people pointed out, including Digital Foundry, that it doesn't look next generation whatsoever. It looks like a PS4 game, but I don't think that's an insult. I'm excited. Ghost of Yotei, Mag. What do you have to say?
It's Yotei, by the way. I'm going to be that guy.
No, it isn't. I looked it up. Everyone's been saying Yokai, but it... Hold on.
No, Yotei with a T.
Oh, Yotei is what it is. Sorry. I wrote it wrong.
Yeah, Yotei.
Yotei. I'm sorry.
Yotei.
Now I got to fix it in the thing. Okay. And you know what?
Ghost of Yotei.
I actually tweeted out Kote or something. I would even spin the words around. But yeah, what do you think of the game?
It's actually called The Ghost of George Takai. George Takai comes back and he goes, hello. Yeah, hello. Anyways, it looks marvelous, but I mean, we just saw snippets. You're like, okay, there's a horse. there's a thing. There's some blue flowers. There's this. There's that. It was kind of like when they showed, Ghost of Tsushima. But man, when you actually get into that game and you play it, it is just breathtaking.
Mhm.
And then when you play it again, like when they did the upgrades for the PS5, it was even better. I played the director's cut on the PS5, and it was just I played it on PS4, and then I downloaded the PS5 version and I platinumed it again. Because I loved it so much, but my God, it was a gorgeous game. Seeing that this game is coming out next year, and I would imagine with PS5 Pro enhancements and all that kind of stuff, it is going to be a stunning game. Sucker Punch has not let me down ever. So no matter what the franchise was, whether it was Infamous, whether it was what is the other one they did? Killzone? What are you smiling at?
Will Brokeboy Lewis said it's called Ghost of Yoplay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I messed it up. I'm sorry. My face is red.
It's a yogurt game. It's a yogurt game. Matter of fact, yes.
I think that blue number is like he's not dead. If you said that George Takei passed away.
No, he's not dead. I know that. I just thought it was.
He was on Psych about 20 years ago.
Oh, dude, he's like 90 something now. I saw his 90th birthday party on Howard Stern. It was hilarious. No, he's still kicking. He's still doing his thing, man. He's great. Him and William Shatner, it's unbelievable. The two of them still bumping around and not just like sitting in a nursing home. They're out doing stuff.
Yep.
But anyways, God bless them both, even though they hate each other. Ghosts of Yotei looks wonderful. I think it's going to be great. Don't care about a female protagonist. I prefer female protagonists anyway.
Yeah.
When I have a choice to play one, I always play as one. I don't know where that harkens from. I think that I was arguing with somebody on Twitter about it, and I was like, well, that kind of might harken back to like the glory days of like Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation 1, Tomb Raider, the very first one. And that's what changed my trajectory for gaming forever, because that's when I officially got so sucked into playing games at home for real, not just a supplementary gaming experience. Because remember back then in the 80s and the early 90s, it was all arcades. Right? Arcades was your number one place to play. Number two, if not further down the list, was home Nintendo and whatever.
Consoles,
You did consoles and all that, because they weren't quite to the level that, if you wanted the best experience, you had to go to the arcade.
Did we use the word consoles back in the NES?
No.
Sega?
No, we didn't.
What did we call them?
We just called them a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo or a Sega or a 3DO or whatever. But then when the PS1 came out and we had those massive story-driven games like your Resident Evil 1, your Tomb Raiders, it left such an impression on me that I played those games over and over. And of course, I played every single installment that came out after that. I think that playing as a woman just became normal. And I'm just like, no, man, I love it. I love it because it seems like so kind of cool and like foreign. I'm like, that's not me, but it's kind of cool to be able to do all that stuff, and I prefer it. Now it's interesting because as you play a lot of games where you get into the mechanics of the game, when you play as a woman, it's usually because there's more agility involved, right? Like you could be faster, quicker. I prefer my characters to be fast, quicker, and better agility as opposed to bigger and bulkier. Hence why I didn't pick up Space Marine 2 yet. Because I'm not really into the big bulky sort of the Gears of War thing. It's not really my thing. I play them, but it's not my thing. I prefer fast, fast and loose movements, agility, being able to. I'm the
SMG
reverse
guy over big assault rifle or whatever.
Absolutely,
yeah,
I'm
I like
the same
fast.
way. Same thing with like Assassin's Creed. You look at a game like that or whatever. You play as a female ninja. I would prefer to play her the entire game. I don't want to play as the other guy. I have no interest in playing him whatsoever. I don't want to play a tank. Not interested in any of that. I'm assuming that that's what his character model is going to be doing. From what we see in the videos, I just want the traversal and the agility and being able to traverse into areas that where the bigger characters wouldn't be able to. So, anyways,
that makes me think of the Assassin's Creed Shadows thing. While I was researching everything that I got wrong about the problem with Assassin's Creed Shadows, a YouTuber named, I'll probably mispronounce his name, but Endy TV. He's got like 275,000 subscribers. He talked to some unnamed sources, I guess, or anonymous sources from Ubisoft about what's going on, and also brought up Ghost of Yotei. Let me see if I get that right. It is Y, right? Ghost of Yotei. No, Dotio. I didn't change it here. I changed it on the ticker. Ghost of Takei, sorry. It's like, I love this game I think it's gonna be so great, but I don't know what it's called. That's okay. I talked to my friend today that said he likes to cook salmon. I'm like, what?
God,
Salmon.
Can't stop that. Salmon.
Yeah, salmon.
The interesting thing I like about this idea about the Ghost of Yotei is that they've taken this. It's 300 years after the events of the first game, right?
Mm-hmm.
What this does is that it opens up creative freedom for many sequels that they don't have to stick to the story of, okay, well, we're going to deal with Jin Sakai the entire time. Well, how many times could this guy deal with the revolution by himself? You know what I mean? Like, or how many times is he going to deal with invaders? It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. The
you know what I mean?
When the conflicts happen. What about 300
Right.
years in the future? What would be
I'm not 100% sure.
the tools of war in that time in like the 1600s?
She has a gun. She has a gun in the game. Like, she has a rifle.
Okay, there you go.
So there is that. I don't know if it's a flintlock. I'm not really 100% sure, but I know she does have a combustible weapon. So the thing is that, like I said, it opens it up. So now, very much like Assassin's Creed, actually, is that
I think they take place. I'm going to look that up right now.
Well, you could jump around and do whatever you want now. You can go to different periods of time and just do this and that, whatever. You can call it the ghost of this, the ghost of that, the ghost of this, kind of like Assassin's Creed, right? Assassin's Creed, fill in the blank. And then you have endless opportunity to be able to tell endless amount of stories throughout history. And of course, there is a rich history that you'll be able to do that. Great idea. It's like when you get to like Die Hard 4, how many times could the same crap happen to the same guy?
Yeah.
That's when you get to part 4, you're like, all right, come on, dude. Once, okay. Twice, you're stretching it. 3, give me a break. Number 4, come on. How many times could you be in the wrong place at the wrong time with terrorists, and then you're trying to save the day? Like after a while, it gets ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
we were watching the TV show The Rookie with Nathan Fillion, and he 40-year-old joins the LAPD, and all these things happen. And as the seasons go on, like they're in international, like FBI related espionage and stuff. And I'm like, there's jurisdiction in cop shows. Like they're like, we have to go to Mexico. It's like, you wouldn't send a beat cop to Mexico, but they have to up the ante. When I look up Assassin's Creed Shadows, it takes place about 30 or 40 years before Ghost of Tokay. See if I get that right.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait a minute. Why is somebody writing the
What? What are you saying? What's going on? Did your battery just die?
No, I'm here. It's Yotei. Okay, I want to make sure I did have it right a second ago. Gosh, you got me all messed up, Mag. All right.
Because you said it again. You said it again with a K. You said Yokai. You said Yotei again.
It is.
It's Yotei.
That's what it is. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling like that's what it must feel like to have what's the thing where you can't read things right? Dyslexia.
Oh, dyslexia.
That's what I was doing. I was doing this dyslexia. I couldn't even say the word. All right. Fine.
Maybe you do have it. Maybe you're just undiagnosed.
What's my name
Or you're
again?
insane. One of the two. George. It's pronounced George Takai. That's how it's done.
That's the other thing that's messed me up. Okay. So anyway, I was saying that that blue number in the chat told me how to pronounce the YouTuber's name. Now I got to look it up again. Anyway, this YouTuber was reporting on Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft, Star Wars, Outlaws, a bunch of claims based on anonymous sources, and that a couple of things that he said, I thought, that doesn't really add up. And one thing was about the new Ghost game. Where? Endymion TV is the name of the YouTuber. He claims.
Sounds like edamame. You sure it's not edamame? Like as in the Japanese peas?
Yeah, I had some of that the other day. I had a Poke Bowl for the first time, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I've never had one. Okay, so anyway, for Assassin's Creed, for Ghost of Yotei, he said that his source told him that Sucker Punch blindsided Sony Interactive Entertainment, or Sony Interactive Entertainment was blindsided by the setting and main protagonist for the game, that they picked a female character, that they got rid of Jin Sakai in the new game. And I'm like, everything he said in this video, I'm like, okay, I want to know if the things that we're about to talk about in a minute, if those things are true about Ubisoft. He brings up this game from PlayStation, and it just doesn't add up, because I think that Sony Interactive Entertainment would know years ago what they plan to do with the second Ghost of Tsushima game. So their claim was that that Sony Interactive Entertainment was blindsided by a female protagonist, and I call BS on that. But I'm sure whatever else he learned, maybe we'll find some truth into it. Meg and I are going to get into it because I recently discovered Fonz's friend, Legendary Drops, who everybody's probably been watching his stuff. He got 1 million views in a week. Him and Asmon Gold have been breaking down the Ubisoft mess. We're going to get into that in great detail because Meg and I both heard things behind the scenes that we're going to talk about that's going on with Ubisoft. It's a really big mess. I will try and get started in a very good manner so that I can lead Meg and I into the discussion. First of all, Ubisoft is in big trouble. Their stock went down from, it was up at 20, now it's down to $2 a share. I don't understand stocks. It's really, really bad. It's really, really bad. Assassin's Creed Shadows is rumored to be delayed even further beyond February 2025, which is 4 or 5 months from now. But Insider Gaming recently reported about a couple hours ago that Ubisoft is not, that they are set. They are probably still going to hit this February date. Some of the rumors got pretty crazy. And Mag and I were talking about them before the show was ready to go up, right when I was ready to hit the green button to start going live. And Meg, I don't know if you want to start with some of the stuff you heard, but most of it centers around Yasuke. And so I think maybe we could kind of set people on where it's at, kind of give them a set of what to expect. I've got some B-roll that I put together of the game while we talk. So yeah, Meg, what's going on with Yasuke and Assassin's Creed Shadows?
If you have money, I would invest in Ubisoft. Actually, I don't give out investment advice. Sorry, can't do that. But if I were a betting man, I would buy 1,000 stocks.
You think they're going to come back up from this?
Well, it'll go back up, or they're going to be purchased at some point, and then it's going to shoot up. And right now, seeing that it went down from $90 to like $9, if it was able to make its way back up there, you'd make a hell of a lot of money. Just saying. So 10 times your investment, maybe 11 times your investment. Anyways, let's get back to the story at hand. There's a lot of convolution, a lot of craziness that's going on with this entire situation, this story. When they started talking about the board of directors doing an investigation into what's going on with Ubisoft and what's going on with their games, especially the last 2 games particularly, right? 5 out of those 12 members of the board are Guillemets. Which means, for anybody who doesn't know, 5 of the 12 members are Yves Guillemot's sons.
Oh, their last name.
And nephews. They're Guillemets. They are literally directly related to the CEO. What kind of investigation do you think they're going to do? Not much, because they're all heavily invested. Some of them as much as $150 to $200 million worth of anyways, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into the money part. But yeah, there's that. Then, of course, there's some of the other stuff that's out there. Some people are saying, which I don't believe is ever going to happen. They're like, oh, you know, they took it off. They took the game out of the release date and pushing it to 2025, maybe even beyond.
Right.
Beyond the February release. I actually could believe that. What I didn't believe is the reason why. Some people were saying, some YouTubers out there were saying, it's because they're going to try and find a way to scrub Yasuke from the game, or put him in a lesser role. I can't see that happening, because that would absolutely disrupt the entire narrative of the story of the game. That wouldn't make any sense.
That would be a massive overhaul beyond making Sonic look more like Sonic in a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I mean, set the stage, Mag, because
yeah, sure.
What you haven't said yet is that with these leaks from anonymous sources from Ubisoft have complained about the work situation and toxic positivity that's going on, where people aren't allowed to voice their opinion. They just shut up and do their job, right? And one of the things was early in like 2020 when they launched Valhalla and they started working on this game, they had a male and a female Japanese native samurai and shinobi. And at some point, what happened, Mag? According to these reports.
Well, it's been multiple reports. None, by the way, just for clarity, none came directly to me, even though I have direct ties to Ubisoft. The stuff that I know is far more intimate on a different level. We will talk about that later. But this is just something I've seen from other YouTubers. Most of them, actually, I would say 99% of the ones I've heard are usually fairly accurate. So they were saying that it was originally, yes, a Japanese male, Japanese female. as you would probably expect in feudal Japan. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Then apparently 3 years into the development cycle after the summer of 2020, they changed it. They changed it to Yasuke after that. That's been reported several times by several different people. Now, it doesn't, at the end of the day, you could have 10 YouTubers all say the same thing. They might have gotten it from the same source. So it could just
Sure.
be one person saying that. I don't know for sure if that's the truth. It doesn't seem very far-fetched considering what Western developers have been doing for the last 4 years. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound that far-fetched to me. However, it's not proven. So far.
Can I pause 1 second? Because if people are watching and the footage is synced up to what I was just talking about, if you were watching the gameplay footage, he just hit an enemy and knocked these Japanese oranges all over the floor. I heard some complaints about Yasuke as a black samurai and his disrespect for Japanese, that they showed a trailer of him smashing market items and showing disrespect to Japan. I don't know if they're referring to this moment in the gameplay trailer that you just watched. If they are, I think it's a really disingenuous complaint, because obviously like that they were showing off like the fruit physics, and they were showing that an interactive thing. If you look right here, Mag, there's these red vases or vases behind him in front of him. The Japanese couple pointed out that those don't look like anything that would be in Japan. They actually look like something that would come out of Africa. So it was funny. I think what they did was maybe they...
That's kind of nitpicky, though, isn't it? Like,
it is a bit nitpicky, but if you have a consultant and like a YouTuber that's watching it live and recording it and saying, what are those doing there? You would never have those. Those aren't in our culture. Those look like something from Africa. Like a consultant would have said, hey, what are these? Like, you've got these in like a bunch of villages. Those are kind of complaints. Those are some of the cultural things that I told people in my video. Like, if you can look past inaccuracies and some culture differences, there's a great game here, but there's even more. We'll go. Hopefully you can go back to what you were saying. Where was I?
Well, no, we were talking about the insertion of Yasuke after 3 years in development. Now, and then someone else said that Sweet Baby Inc. was involved, and that's why. But they also can't confirm that. So I'm like, okay, well, this is a lot of you know what I mean? This is a lot of like rumor and hearsay. But apparently the people that are saying these things are Ubisoft employees. I know several Ubisoft employees, and no one's told me any of this stuff. So I haven't heard any of this myself. Mind you, this is not the kind of thing that just be like, hey, guess what? You know what I mean? It's not the kind of thing that they're like, mosey on over and start yapping away about, because I think a lot of people want to keep their jobs and don't really want to stick their necks out, you know what I mean? And be like, hey, this is what's going on or whatever. So people are kind of being quiet. So I don't know. I'm just reporting from what we're hearing from other people. Whether it's bullshit or not, we don't know. We're gonna find out in due time. Just like everything else, when it comes to conspiracy theories, the difference between conspiracy and truth is about 6 months. So we'll probably find out well after the game comes out. As for anything else, does it really matter? Not really. At the end of the day, you have the choice to buy the game or don't buy the game. It's entirely up to you. I know one thing for sure, and I've spoken to some people from Japan, and the one thing I could tell you about that culture in particular, and this is where Ubisoft are a bunch of goddamn fools. The Japanese people are a very proud people. They are very stringent about their culture, about
and
their
its portrayal,
history.
like no other.
The only one close is India. I could tell you that India, the Indian people, and I know a fair amount of Indian people as well, very proud of their culture and are very proud of their history and very proud of their identity and their history. This is all, the Japanese are the same way. Their traditions, cultures, and everything else like that, they do not like it bastardized. I could give you an example too. Back in 1983, when Steven Spielberg and George Lucas went to India to film Temple of Doom, they kicked him out of the country.
Oh,
because
really?
They said, because they said, you're not going to portray our people as like part of the Kali, the Kali Thuggy, cult. Get out. They had to film the movie in Sri Lanka. You know what I mean? Because the Indian culture, they have a stringent set of rules when it comes to depicting their culture if you're going to be in their country as well and film it, or develop a game. Japanese people, no different. Chinese people, no different. And there are a lot of Yes,
that
sure.
thought. Moderators, I wanted to kind of give you a heads up that I see a couple things. As long as people are being, semi-respectful, like, Question Mark said that there was a complaint about the hip hop music they used when Yasuke entered into one of the scenes, one of the early trailers, and that really bothered a lot of different people from all different cultures. So somebody pointing something like that out. I know some stuff is going to sound really acerbic when they say it in the chat, but it's important, as long as people are being decently respectful, that they're able to give their opinion about this, because I know that people are really staunch about, they don't want this game to exist. They want Ubisoft to go under because of their mistakes. I am on the side of the fence with probably, I would think you are as well, Mag, that if they can correct some of their mistakes and kind of show and make up for what they've their shortcomings or their insensitivities, like, I would like to see them flourish.
They're free to do whatever they want. At the end of the day, they could do whatever they want. We, as a consumer, are free to either purchase or not purchase whatever it is you're doing. So there is a sense, like, I know that there's a lot of sense of entitlement out there in the world where people are like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm like, well, they could do whatever they want. If you want to do your game or whatever, go ahead, do it yourself. Make your own team, create your own game, get your own funding, do whatever you want to do. You don't have to support them. It's just like Disney. Like, you don't have to support Disney and all their nonsense that they've been doing. Like, whatever, burying entire franchises into the dirt. Go ahead, do it. But I ain't going to the theater to watch it, and I ain't paying for Disney Plus to watch it. And so have hundreds of millions of other people have done the same, and they spoke with their wallets. Now Disney is floundering. You know what I mean? And just everything is tanking. And so whatever, fine, go ahead, do whatever the hell you want. It's on you. But don't expect that people are going to, voice their opinions and not be happy about it, whatever else. I can't change what they're doing. The
market will tell the truth, for sure.
That's it. Like, I can't change what they're doing. If I'm not happy with what Ubisoft is doing, I'm like, oh, I'm not happy about this and that, whatever. That's fine. I can't change what they're doing. The only way that I can speak about it is whatever else. And fighting with people and this and that about what's woke, what's not woke, and this and that, up and down, left, right. You just don't buy the game. And they will understand. You know what I mean? Like, let's say if the game tanks, just like Star Wars Outlaws, then they're going to learn real quick. And that's where
they're learning real quick right now, just from...
They are learning quick, but you're
Avatar flopped. Hold on, I got this. Let me grab it.
X-Defiant.
Yeah, I've got a list here. I did some cursory research on Ubisoft, and Star Wars Outlaws, and it was mostly recently. Star Wars Outlaws flopped, only made $1 million, or 1 million sales. Not $1 million. Prince of Persia flopped, even though people love the game. Avatar flopped, Skull and Bones flopped, Resident Evil Extraction flopped. Assassin's Creed Mirage actually made some money. X-Defiant was doing okay. Now it's flopped. It was a great game. Yeah, I liked it.
Assassin's Creed Mirage was a great game.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it, but
I loved it. I thought it was a great game. And spoiler alert, you play as you play. You're not playing as you're playing as a Muslim character. No one complained because it fit into the lore of what they were doing. Whatever.
I didn't hear anybody complain about inaccuracies with the representation of Baghdad where the game took place, right? And I never heard anybody complain about how they represented Egypt and Origins. I certainly didn't hear anybody complain. Zocker, a good friend of mine, who says when he plays the game, his mom walked by and goes, "Oh my gosh, that's home," and she doesn't even really speak English. He said the wala wala or whatever. I don't even know how. Because Zocker always does he does an impression of the Greek thing, and he speaks full Greek. What it
boils down to, yep. Well, what it boils down to is at the end of it, when you go Assassin's Creed 1 all the way across, and you go and you see all the cultures that you've actually been involved with, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is where the bone of contention... No, I know that this is where the bone of contention comes in. And you can understand why people are pissed, especially the Japanese specifically. Then there's always bandwagon people who are going to jump on it anyway because they're looking for any kind of, looking for the drama, whatever. However...
Yeah, sure.
If you go all the way back from the first one when they were in Jerusalem, then you go into the ones where they're in Italy.
Yep.
Sorry, I was just doing rock on for Italy. Represent, baby.
I mean,
Ezio in the house.
Are you 100% Italian, Mag?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I was assuming you were. And so were there any inaccuracies when you played there?
No.
You're like, no, that's
No,
not
like that, like you could literally, I mean, they digitally mapped all the cities, buildings, everything. You can go, it was absolutely.
So is it fair to assume
Tower in Naples, and it's right there. It's exactly the way it actually is in the game. And you play as an Italian. You play in Jerusalem. You play as a Frenchman. You play as actually one of my favorite ones. Funny, you play as a what was the pirate, the Black Flag? What was he, Irish or Scottish? I think he was Irish. You play. I think he was Irish.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah, I think he was.
Connor something or other. So he was Irish. You got the
So Hatham and Connor. I can't remember. Conway.
Conway.
So what would that be? Yeah. What would that be, guys? What would that? Well, what was the nationality of the main character in Black Flag? I would think there's been 15 mainline of Assassin's Creed, something like that, like 12. Right. I would think this is the only one, it seems like, where they didn't get it right. Assassin's Creed
that's
Shadows.
The funny thing. Dude, the list keeps going on. You play as a Greek. You play as a North African in Origins. You play in Welsh, North African in Origins. Welsh. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think you
play as a Greek. You play as an African American woman in the what the hell was it called? Assassin's Creed. It was on the PSP, I think, and then they ported it over to Xbox and PlayStation. It was a great game. I absolutely loved it. Anybody remember that one? Hit me up, guys.
They had an Assassin's Creed China and a Russia or something, but I didn't play those side-scroller ones.
I played them. I played them all.
Liberation.
Liberation. That was it. It was Assassin's Creed Liberation, where you play as an ex-slave in the southern United States, and you're actually learning to traverse through like the swamplands of like Louisiana and stuff. What an amazing Assassin's Creed! So you've basically covered everything that makes sense across the board. Then you get to Mirage. You're playing as a Muslim in damn it, where the hell was it again?
Baghdad, I think.
In Baghdad. Was it Yeah, it was in Baghdad. That's right. Yeah. You play a Muslim character in Baghdad. Makes sense, doesn't it? They had India, they had Russia, they had China. Those are the three side-scrolling ones. Played all three. Dang
it, I'm counting on Assassin's Creed to get me my historical lessons, because I drew pictures in high school, so I didn't learn about my history. I don't get to travel everywhere in the world. And dang it, you got to get Assassin's Creed Shadows right so I can know what it's like to be in feudal Japan, because I'm not going to be able to go there anytime soon. So you got to get it right, Ubisoft.
They're not going. It's done now. It's done now. So now,
well, they're going to fix stuff.
Go down the line. The Japanese come along. Well, the Japanese come along and they're like, "Hey, finally, it's our turn. Excellent. I'm excited to see what they're going to do." And then all of a sudden, they're like, "What?" And then you could see where that bone of contention is if you look at the history of every single game all the way through, and then you see where you get to at this point now. You're like, "Why?" And then when you start piecing together the puzzles, then you start to understand why. And then you're like, "Okay, well, this, it makes sense, but doesn't make sense." But anyways, like I said, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't say.
Interesting.
You didn't say like
to see. What happens? No, I was going to say, and then when you got George Takei coming out sometime in the first quarter of 2025, and I can tell you one thing, Sucker Punch, I'm going to call it George Takei from now on, by the way, Sucker Punch,
George,
for being a quote-unquote Western studio, did one hell of a job.
Oh, of course. Yes.
And earned the respect and love of not only the Japanese people, but the Japanese government. They were given an award. Did you know?
They had an old white guy that looked like me doing the flute solo at the state or at the showcase. But I mean, that guy was like a world-renowned Japanese. Yeah,
it wasn't Zamfir.
I don't know, guys.
So even the Japanese government recognized them, gave them an award, the whole 9 yards.
You know why? Do you know why, Meg? Because a big part of Sucker Punch's team did their homework, and
they also went to Japan and they lived there and they stayed there for most of the duration of the development of the game. And then they had consultants. They did this, they did that. They made sure that they got every ounce of the game correct because they knew what the Japanese people are like, especially when it comes to a Western culture depicting their culture. Right?
That's insane that that in the world there's one culture above all that will take offense and are ultra sensitive about their lineage being portrayed properly. And there's millions of animes, cartoons, graphic novels, movies, video games that portray Japan. This one is under intense scrutiny because they I think because of what you said, I was trying to go back to something 15 minutes ago that you were supposed to reveal if people haven't heard some of the reports from insiders.
Yes.
I think the reason why this is under such scrutiny is not because they're finally in feudal Japan. I almost died right there. It was great. It's because they chose a black samurai over a traditional, like you said a few minutes ago, we finally get an Assassin's Creed in our homeland, and they made a choice. I'll just say it then instead of asking you to, because it's not on a burden to anybody. It's not our report. A supposed insider report was that they had the male samurai and the female samurai, and because of, Mag didn't say this, I'll just say it because this sucks to say. Because of the 2020 era's Black Lives Matter movement and the horrible thing that happened to George Floyd, his passing, and all that stuff that was really, really nasty, going right into the world pandemic and everything. It was a really, really, really bad time for everybody, and a really, really bad time for all those politics that we don't get into on a show like this. But the report was that Ubisoft wanted to do a solid and pay homage to that movement, and said, well, here's Yasuke. Yasuke's a historical figure, whether he's a samurai or not. They're like, we can make him a really cool character. I would say, from what I've watched, Yasuke looks like a really cool character to play as. He looks like he's quiet and just a tank. And there's going to be some really great growth in both these characters. Naoe, the female shinobi, she comes from a family who has like never really been in conflict, and now they're in feudal Japan, and she's going out into this horrible world where people are killing each other. So I think Yasuke is a cool character, but the report is that Ubisoft took the opportunity to say, hey, let's bring in some homage and representation for people like this. Now, there are people who are championing that they're being represented in this game, but I think what Mag and I were trying to point out is that the complaints come from, this was our moment to show our lineage in a big AAA game, and you made kind of a different change. And I'm not even going to make any, I don't even know what to say to that.
I'm not even a player. That's the funny thing. Like, a lot of people is like, they get, well, you'll read Risket's super chat in a minute. But I think that he's hitting the mark completely off. Is that it's got nothing to do with us. We're just watching from the sidelines. We're not involved in any of this. What happens is you will get people jumping on the bandwagon one side or the other, pro and con, right? In this situation, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. People have the right to say or feel however they feel like, and of course, vote with their wallet, whether they want to purchase it or not. Entirely up to them. As long as you're respectful and not being an ass about it, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
But this isn't about us. It's not about me, not about you, not about anybody in this chat, unless you're Japanese. We're specifically talking about, we're specifically talking about the Japanese people and the issue going on with them, and then that has spread out. Is it a mystery that Ubisoft disappeared from the Tokyo Game Show? They were literally going into the Lion's Den, and then they magically disappeared, and then a couple days later they delayed the game. Like, come on. Like, it doesn't take, you don't have to be like Einstein to figure out what's happening here. Okay. So like, that they were skirting away from it. They're running away from the problem. And not problem, whatever, what their perception of a problem. And then of course, like I said, the ire that's coming from, what you would consider to be a pretty vocal population of the Japanese people who are against it. That's what we're talking about. Anything else doesn't involve me. I'm just a guy. I'm just here watching this thing go down, and I'm like, all right, well, you can either buy it or you don't. And the people in the chat, you have the right to do it too. You can do whatever you want. You want to buy 2 copies. Buy one for you and your mother.
I know, and I'm just the guy who really wants to play this game. Like, I love the setting and everything. I'm also the guy that I am like really hoping that they can take this 4 months and remove things from the game that aren't correct. And Hargeet's got a great super that explains one of their just absolute blinders on when it comes to getting the cultural references correct. I mean, sometimes I'll say something on the internet. I'm going to call someone a funny name that Bugs Bunny used to use. And then I'm like, you know what? It's not It's not 1981 anymore. When I first saw that, let me look that up. And I'm like, oh no, I can't use that word right now. Hargeet Johnny says, I hope Ubisoft apologizes for the Tory Gate thing. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Hargeet. He's referring to the Shrine Gate, as we would call it. People who aren't, I would always call them a Shrine Gate. There's a Shrine Gate that they put out this Funko Pop statue. It's dumb because it's quirky looking. Little like bobblehead characters of Yasuke and Naue, posing. Imagine it, if you will, if you haven't seen it. 2 Funko Pop characters of these 2 playable characters with a shrine gate behind them broken in half. And it's red, like you see in the game. Well, as soon as that got revealed, people in Japan were like, what the fudge? The only Torii Gate standing, as far as I heard, the only Torii Gate like that is the one that was broken in half from the Nagasaki bombing in World War II. And this is something like, if you had a consultant on your darn game, they would have gone, what, this is the statue you're going to sell at the no, what, that wouldn't even gone into the 3D extrusion, the thermoforming extrusion. There's no way that would have passed if they had proper, I'm so bugged because I didn't see any of this until Hargeet Johnny. Shout out to Hargeet Johnny for being an amazing friend over the past like 3 or 4 years. What a great person. He's like, Colt, loved your video. I really want you to watch this. And as a friend who I love Hargeet, he loves me and he's watching out for me. He's like, I want you to watch this. Sit down tonight and just watch it. And I did. And these people that from Japan explained everything. I had no idea. I was completely uninformed. And I look like a jackass for it. So I apologize. Game Seeker, thank you so much for the Canadian $10 super chat. He says game prices have gone up. Market is saturated. Ubisoft games of late are 7 out of 10. Pause that, Game Seeker. I was looking at that tweet where really the problems for Ubisoft have started in force in about 2020, 2021. Before that, they were doing great. Everyone's like Ubisoft's always been bad. No, they've been pretty good. They've been pretty good up until recently. Now they're like flopping hard. I'm going to lose my voice, Mag. Let me finish what he said. Gamers have realized if you wait. Oh, Game Seeker and you are like spirit buddies. Gamers have realized if you wait 3 months, those games will be on sale for half the price.
Exactly. And then once you condition people to do so, like myself, there's no point. Like, for example, I made the mistake because my wife and I wanted to play Avatar co-op. So I actually got it when it came out. I just started playing it now. It came, like, the last time I turned the game on was February of, like, earlier this year, right? So what was the point of me paying full price for that game if I didn't touch it for another 9 months? Right? Just wait the 9 months. You know what I mean? And then just put it on, like, a wish list or whatever. You want to put it on, like, a preferred game list or that kind of thing. Great. You could do all that kind of stuff. And then you could just get to it later when it's like cheap. But people are conditioned to that and they get conditioned to that unless the game is an absolute FOMO game that you know that you cannot miss. Like, for example, generally speaking, Call of Duties land on that. Grand Theft Auto games land on that, or at least Grand Theft Auto 6.
Or games that score in the mid to high 8s and 9s, like people are like.
Yeah, like ones like the FOMOs you cannot ignore.
Yeah, sure.
But anything below that, anything below an 80, I'm not even looking at it as a release date purchase. In fact, even if it's like 85 and below, I don't even bother.
That's a big hit to the publishers, though, when Mag swoops in and goes $40 instead of 80 Canadian, you know?
Hell yeah. And I'm like, why not? And I'm like, I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not gonna, if it's an 82 and 83, I'd be like, it's not that it's bad. It's just like, you know what? I'll wait.
Hey, man, our favorite game, one of our favorite games last year was like a 78 or 76. The Dying Light game.
Yeah, but
we do make exceptions,
not Dying Light. Not Dying Light. Dead Island.
What?
Dead Island 2. No, it was Dead Island 2.
Oh, you and I were talking earlier about Last Generation. Like Dying Light 1 was one of our favorites. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that was my top 5 of the entire generation. No, Dead Island 2 is what came out a year and a half ago. You and I we played it and I loved it. It was just it's a ridiculous game, and it's just, I mean, slow motion sticking broomsticks through people's faces. Like, you're just like, yeah.
Bro, that game had no business being that good from a studio that's never like hit it out of the park.
I know.
Damn Busters. That's awesome.
It was so much fun. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah, so anyways, whatever. The point is that I won't do that. And he's right. People get conditioned to if you release, and I hate to use the word mediocre, but but literally the definition of mediocre is in between great and not great. It's
And in this
the
community,
middle.
it's like a 7 and below, unfortunately.
In the middle, yeah, I would say
Yeah.
5 to 7. I would actually say 6 to 7 is 6 to 8 is a mediocre. And then I would say 5 and below is bad, and then 8 and above is extraordinary. Or
Everybody
like,
has
great.
their own scale. I think
Their own metrics. Sure,
I think
sure,
75 and under is on the edge of mediocre for me, but that's how I look at games. And then again, like I said, there's lots of 75s that I've absolutely loved. Risk it for the
that's
biscuit.
The other thing.
What's that?
Go. No, I was gonna say, like, for example, what did Starfield score? Do you remember?
An 82 or something, or 81 or 83.
And see that proves
you don't
the
like
point.
it at all.
I hated that game, right? And it was an 82. So yes, of course, all metrics change depending on your personal taste. Anyways, Risk It. What's up?
Risk It. Thank you so much for the $8 Australian. He says, seriously, who cares if they get it 100% right? It's a video game. We haven't even played the dang thing yet. We've seen trailers, for Pete's sake.
He's not wrong. And that's what I was tapping on. Is that this really isn't our fight at the end of the day? What I see, a lot of the discourse going on between the Japanese and Ubisoft. Yes, people are taking sides. Obviously, people will always do so. But at the end, like I said, you have the choice.
Can I say something super dicey?
Sure, say whatever you want, dude.
You Risk It got me thinking. Like, what do they have to get right? Like, what's the threshold where it's like, okay, it's okay? I think a lot of people are upset that Yasuke is out here slaughtering other Japanese soldiers, native Japanese soldiers. But
can't change that now. There's nothing they can do to fix anything.
Yeah.
I personally believe that there was actually nothing wrong with the game. I actually think that they did this in order to try and try to quell some of the angst that was coming out of the Tokyo Game Show, knowing that Ubisoft was going to be there. So when people were going to be there, Ubisoft knew that they were going to get attacked as soon as they got there. And then they just decided to just tuck tail and run. And that's why I think that they did this. They delayed it 5 months. I personally feel that they're doing it to kind of calm down the discourse with the game, so that by 5 months from now, people will be angry about something else. You know how the internet is. Social media goes from one outrage to the next outrage. I could say something insane, and then the people will be outraged for about 26 hours. And then they won't even know who I am after that. Then it's on to the next outrage.
I've been in hot water. I've been in hot water. If you just stay quiet for 24 hours, like
whatever.
they move on to somebody else.
Today, everybody's pissed at Taylor Swift. Tomorrow they're pissed at Trump. Then they're pissed at Meg. Then they're pissed at Colt. Then they're pissed at George Takei. Then they're pissed at whatever. Then they're pissed at Ghost of Yotei. And then it goes on. Then they're pissed at Risk It for the Biscuit.
I was gonna say Risk It. And I've DM'd about that. Like, there was one week where he was getting hassled about something that he claimed or whatever, right? And he messaged me. He's like, "Dude, what the crap?" And I'm like, bro, just
don't say anything.
Just lay low. Don't even respond to people, because these people are fake. I always say these aren't real people. They're going to be outraged for 24 hours, and they're going to be like, they're on to the next thing. So they're on to the next thing.
It doesn't matter. Yeah,
but, the gotcha's like.
But what's I think why people are not letting it go is because what's the word I'm looking for here? The way that it comes across, the way that it looks, is that it's what Ubisoft had done in this specific situation. If everything comes to fruition, the way that people are saying it is that it comes from a place of it's disingenuous.
Sure,
and that's why people have a problem with it. Not because it's a black guy, not because you're going to play as a Latina in GTA 6.
Well,
or you're doing that, or you're playing as this and that, whatever, this and up and down. Doesn't matter. It's because it just seems, the impression is that it comes from a disingenuous place. Is that why people, I think, are irked by it, especially the Japanese, and then whatever else. And that's what I see in front of me. Whether I'm right, I don't know. Whether I'm wrong, all I know is that that's what I'm observing, and that's where I think a lot of the angst is coming from. So that's my interpretation of what's happening. Then that's what it is. So whatever.
Right.
And people can say whatever the F they want about, Meg, this and that, bliggity blah and blaggity blee. And I'm like, well, I'm just observing what I see in front of my face.
It isn't our fight. I wonder about the people who are like, I was so excited about this.
But not every Italian's an effing plumber, Yeah. Why do you think I feel? How do you think I feel?
I don't know.
45 years. I have to listen to this. Not all Italians sound like that. Okay? All right? I have my own battles.
Yeah, that's
Mario
true.
and
That's
Luigi,
true.
the only, the first Italians in video game, and they make plumbers. Thanks, guys.
I felt like some stuff was being cherry picked, but and then I realized, it probably isn't my fight because, if Yasuke's out there killing other soldiers, it's like, well, whether you believe he's a samurai or not, if he was actually out there fighting, he was doing that. It's a video game, for crying out loud, but you got to get the culture stuff right. Like in this clip, there's a wooden, like short wooden walkways, not like the deck you might be seeing right now, but there's like these 2 or 3 foot wide walkways. Voice is like going to go here.
Colt sounds like I'm on my 3rd cigar on a night. 17 whiskeys and 20 beers. Anyways, carry on.
When we were in Vancouver, BC, we were walking and this guy was up against the wall by an alley with a huge stogie. And she goes, "Look at that guy. Doesn't he look like a villain from a movie?" I go, "Why? Because he's got the big cigar." She's like, "Yeah, the big cigar is like, that's total villain."
Yeah. That's me. That was me that was me in Tennessee. I'm filming myself in Tennessee with a huge cigar. I found a joint. It was an underground 1920s speakeasy. I didn't find it. It's impossible to find. And I got in there, and you're allowed to smoke indoors. So of course I'm in this like mint underground spot with like all dark and like fireplace, we got fires going and stuff. And I'm sitting there smoking a big cigar. Of course I'm a villain.
Yeah.
Carry on.
When somebody pointed out that you're Ben Kingsley from
Jesus,
bro, one of these times I'm gonna put Patrick Wilson and Ben Kingsley together in a Photoshop and say the Mag and Cole show. But no, my voice is I am drinking water. My voice is getting worn out from all this craziness. I think it's
because you're not drinking enough Mountain Dew.
Dude, I'm never going back. It's not worth it.
Oh, that's what they all say.
That's what they all say.
I'm not going to rehab. I'm done, bro. I'm good, coke
bro.
Anymore.
Yeah,
I don't snort coke anymore.
I remember when I was first on Ecstasy or on RDX podcast with Dealer and all those guys, like, I wouldn't per se get nervous, but a couple times, like first starting out, when they'd first go to me and my voice would crack because I'm like, oh my gosh. So it would just
surprise with that, sir.
Yeah. Robert Molandano, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Says Ubisoft games are just so mediocre now. Yeah, I would agree. Like lately,
I think that's the bigger bone of contention that people should be focusing on is that their quality is not quite there anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the bigger issue, not about anything else. The other stuff, fine. Let people can fight till they're blue in the face about the other stuff. Go ahead. No one's going to stop you, and you have the right to do so. However, I think the bigger issue at hand is the quality is a problem.
I don't even know if Assassin's Creed Shadows, Meg, I don't even know if it's buggy or not polished. I'm going to make a stand that they are not delaying it whatsoever for bug and polish. Like, I know that Assassin's Creed Valhalla and the other games, they might have a few quirks here or there, but my memory, because you and I play the crap off of those games, right? Until the crap flies off of them. They're mostly polished to my memory. So I am going to say my claim is I don't think Assassin's Creed Shadows is buggy and unfinished, but Star Wars Outlaws was, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Like it was, I don't know.
Well, you mean you're walking around, you got, what are the guys calling her? Ma'am Solo? Whatever her name is.
We've got news for that game too.
She's like running and then she like falls through the floor and then I'm like, oh, did she get sucked into a Sarlacc pit? Like what happened? And like, it's like, where did she go? And then it's showing like a stormtrooper and she's literally just railing this dude in the back of the head with a laser and just like pew 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 pew, and he's just standing there.
That pisses me off. Now I have friends that really like that game, but
yeah.
When I need to be quick and take somebody out and I have to hit him with 3 laser bolts in the forehead, I'm like, come on, fix that.
Seeker, you got to get hit. Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say you got to get hit detection right. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I think it is. They just gave every enemy a certain amount of health no matter where you shoot them, because I don't think they looked at that game like a shooter, and they definitely didn't look at it like a stealth takedown
Especially
game.
Star Wars title, but we'll get into it in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, we will. Game Seeker, thank you so much for the Canadian 5. Says AC Unity is one of the lowest rated AC games, I think. It's also my least favorite one. That's me talking. Game Seeker says only one to have co-op. I also played it when it had a lot of bugs. That's right. Yeah, Game Seeker's right. AC Unity was the bug AC. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. I remember it was a mess. So you know what I did? I played it for a couple of hours and I'm like, this is unplayable. So what I did is I put it down for about 3 or 4 months. They patched the living hell out of it. And then I went back to it and had a flawless experience. So I just played other games in its stead while they were doing all the patches and everything else. So I just said, you know what? Forget it. I got like 6 other games to play because that year they released a ton of awesome games that came out that year. And then I just was like, you know what? I'll just
2014
wait.
or whatever it was, or 20.
It was either 14 or 15.
15. No, 14 because 15 was Syndicate. I think. I just played Syndicate, but I also loaded up.
Syndicate was awesome. I loved Syndicate.
I did too. It was. Yeah. I skipped it, and then we played it this year, and I thought it was fantastic. I mean, it's not amazing, but
Unity was great 10 years later. Yeah, that seems to be the way a lot of these games these days are going. It's like, oh yeah, it's just the game's great a year later. And that's another reason why I'm starting to find that playing these games later on is because they patched it 76 times since it came out. By the time I pick it up for $30, the game runs flawlessly, right? So
yeah,
I
waited a month or two to
go.
I waited a month or two to get Unity, and it got its big first patch. And then I didn't have that many problems with it, but I just didn't love the game. It's one of my least favorite Assassin's Creed games. Risky for the Biscuit, thank you for the Australian $3. Says devs will think twice making games set in Japan for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen a game get this much friction in Japan.
Because it's a non-Japanese studio making a Japanese game.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't think that Sucker Punch had a ton of eyeballs on them when they were making that game? Including the fact that they had a Japanese publisher that was looking at it. You don't think that they were on top of their asses every second of the day, every moment that they were developing that game? Just think about what's his face from Sony Santa Monica when they're like, dude, start it over. Like when he was talking about God of War, right? Remember that? And you gotta start this game over. Can you imagine the scrutiny that they must have faced from Sony themselves when they were making Ghost of Tsushima? Can you imagine? So that's
I just think they just had a consultant who was like, no, this is how you do it.
But your owners are Japanese. Sony is Japanese.
True.
So you know what I'm saying? So the brass from up top, they're like, yo, go down there and make sure they got everything they need to make this game right.
Make sure there's a fox and you follow him everywhere.
Yeah, make it a fox. and I want bare asses.
They're like, I can't
in hot springs.
Did you see somebody said the first thing you're going to do it when you play Ghost of Takai? That's what we're going to call it from now on. Ghost of George Takai.
Ghost of George Takai.
You're going to go to the hot springs. Yeah, because you see Jin Sakai's naked manly butt cheeks, and it's amazing.
Well, yeah, and I'm assuming people are assuming that I'm under the assumption that people are thinking that you're going to see the same thing with her. Unlikely. Yeah, unlikely. If you want to see that. If you want to see that, just go to an erotic massage. It's $40 for 45 minutes. What's the problem? Jesus. You don't have to buy a $70 game for that. You can see it in real life.
Gaz goes to those, and he asks if E Honda will do it.
Obviously, Gaz goes to those. Nothing else is ringing on his bell. Carry on.
Oh, thank you, Risket. We got Lord Metroid.
I hope you're listening, Gaz. Yeah.
He's not. He doesn't care. We got Lord. Ever since you took over, he knew he couldn't keep up. Lord Metroid. Thank you for the 2. Says The Lost Crown is the best Ubisoft game this year, and that's Prince of Persia. Everybody loves it. Risket says, "Did you hear me complain about Mad Max with an Australian $3? What was about the movie or the game?
What are you talking about? The game?
Oh, because he's from Australia.
He's Australia. Well, George Miller wasn't George Miller involved in the game as well? If George Miller don't know Australia, then nobody does. Okay, so George Miller nails the aesthetics down to a T of post-apocalyptic Australia, which of course is Risket for the Biscuits neighborhood currently.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, pushing polygons, that was hilarious, dude. Mag doesn't play Fallout 76. He plays Patch 76. Yes, that is a true story, my friend.
That's good. I've got some other information, about Ubisoft and some of the problems they're having with their money as I get my voice back to working. So let me finish off these questions. Tanias, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says the only AC where a main character is not native to the culture, it would be equally stupid for a white guy to be taking out people to Thunderstruck. And Thunderstruck is the ultimate white man anthem. Dirty deeds done cheap.
That's Risk Its people too, man.
Yeah, they're Australian.
They're his people, man. Thunder from down under. My dad
If
grew
you were
up with
playing
that,
the Mad Max game, Mag, and Thunderstruck came on, would you be hyped? You would. You have to.
Mad Max?
Yeah, and you get dirty deeds done with sheep, or whatever it's called.
That's what the farmers sing.
When I first heard that, I thought he was saying "Dirty Deeds, Thunder Chief," because I didn't know what they were saying. Thunder Chief.
Well, Thunder Chief, that also works. I am actually good with that. But yes, if you put AC/DC into a Mad Max song, I'd be okay with it.
Okay. Grandpa's Barbecue Game
It's
Cat.
it's not cultural appropriation. It's their people. Their people representing their people. Yep. Go ahead.
We got the Australian crew in here holding down that side of the planet for us. Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat, thank you so much for the Australian 5. What's up, buddy? Says, if I think I'll enjoy a game, I'll buy it. If I go out of my way to ignore Clown World, and I think when he says Clown World, he means Twitter.
He means me and you. Specifically. I'm very offended.
Dang it.
Very offended. No, you know what? Hey, man, like I said that 15 minutes ago before people jumped down my throat, which they will anyway, because whatever. And like, listen, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. If the game looks hot and you want to play it, go ahead and play it. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. You have the right to do it. If it offends you, don't do it. If it doesn't offend you, go do it. As long as you're not hurting somebody else, then it doesn't really matter at the end of the day what you do. Everything else is just effing noise.
Can I just say that there has to be a large group of people that weren't going to play Assassin's Creed Shadows? And I don't have to like say that just for that game. How many times is there a game that somebody wasn't going to play? Like, remember the Hogwarts Legacy thing where they were like lobbying? Like, they were never going to play that video game, let alone a video game.
That was like 0.04 of the population was crying about it. That was never going to affect it's never going to affect the general unspoken population of people out there that, like, you know, when you see something on social media and they're yip yapping about this, that, and whatever, or regular media or corporate media and all their bull crap and everything else, when you hear all that stuff, you think that that's how everybody's talking out there in the streets, or this is how everybody feels. It's not. 90% of the world doesn't listen to any of this crap. 90% of the land don't even know what's going on. They don't listen to anything. They're either going to do it or they don't. However, that being said, it was reported on Side Scrollers that the pre-orders, shout out to Stuttering Craig. Excellent.
Guy's awesome.
He did say that the pre-orders for AC Shadows is only 7% of what Assassin's Creed Valhalla's pre-orders were.
And Assassin's Creed Valhalla was one of the highest sold Assassin's Creed games in a long time.
It was one of the highest sold Assassin's Creed games of all time. Yes, it's the pre-sales or whatever the hell you want to call them for this game are 93% lower than Valhalla.
That's gotta hurt.
That is still telling. So regardless of everything we're talking about, it's obviously struck it. Now, the other thing is it also could be the pricing. Remember the pricing situation where they were like, oh, you got to buy the pre-order, yet like they were offering that one, they were charging way more than what they should have if you wanted to get like an extra mission or this, that, and the other. They did the same thing with Star Wars Outlaws. Could have been the pricing, but at the end of the day, maybe, you know, well, we don't know. We don't know. We're going to find out in whenever it decides to come out. Whether it's February or whether it's beyond that, we will find out. So I think what we do is we put a pin in this and stick it on the bulletin board and hold it there, put a little placeholder and say, okay. Oh, speaking of placeholder, someone from the Ubisoft camp did say something about that. And they did say that actually the February 2025 release date actually is just a placeholder, and that they actually don't have any intention of releasing that month.
Okay, that is being reported differently from Insider Gaming as of a couple hours ago.
That did they say something too? I didn't see that.
They've talked to someone at Ubisoft who believes that February 18th or 14th, I think it's 18th, 14th. Yes. 4 days before Avowed. Yeah, that date is actually
Valentine's Day.
That is actually what they're going to do. That they don't. That's not a fluid thing. It's just weird. Right. Ubisoft has always released their Assassin's Creed games in the fall. Somebody,
So they're releasing
when my
it on
moderator
Valentine's
struck
Day.
down,
Like,
someone was like, Xbox
people are
fans
busy,
are different. This guy has guitars that doesn't know AC/DC.
Colt.
I'm a Gen X guy. I can name like 30 AC/DC songs and sing all of them.
Yeah, Colt, you fraud. Don't even know ACD. Don't even know ACD. Those aren't even, by the way, people, just so you know, those aren't real guitars. Those are actually just paper mache that he painted.
Yeah, they're just like,
they're literally cardboard.
Yeah,
they're literally cardboard. I know as a fact. And actually, if you look at the neck of the guitar is actually made of used toilet paper rolls.
Here, I wonder if this would actually come through. If it would go. If it would get. If I can get it to. I can't get it to. Oh, it's
focused?
so close. Yeah,
What,
you can see the white calluses on my fingers from playing guitar.
Oh yeah,
I can't get it in focus, but they're.
Yep.
Oh, they're nasty. They're nasty. Okay, because I've been doing a lot of guitar playing, a lot. So anyway,
So AC Shadows is releasing possibly on Valentine's Day. You know, we got things to do, Ubisoft.
yeah, like play the game.
I
wanted to add.
Man.
I wanted to add to what you said, Mag. That
I want to be knocking boots, not knocking fruits. All over the floor.
Okay, where was that at? Let it be known at 6:35 Pacific.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was actually right off the cuff. I was just thinking of those rolling. I think of the rolling oranges.
Brad Ward Fight is going to have his biggest tweet ever by quoting you. I want to be knocking boots, not knocking fruits. Bro, that was awesome. Okay, no, I was going to say we will see. I think we're definitely going. I even tweeted out. I don't think that this is going to affect sales because Valhalla did amazing. But I think I'm dead wrong. I think it's really going to have an effect on sales. We got Chris R. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, my issue with Ubisoft is quality control. Their games have been buggy messes for years. They also pad their games with useless quests to artificially increase the length. Sure. Just becomes boring. Yeah, I know. And you have to be careful. If you like these games, you have to be careful about how much nonsense you do. If you like doing the nonsense, it's not a problem. But maybe people always don't like that. Lionel, thank you so much for the 5. Tom Anderson put out a great report on Insider Gaming explaining this today. I'd trust his word over Asmongold or Andy Mion, who spout things to bring in views. Well, I mean, Asmongold was quoting exactly from Legendary Drops, who talked to developers. Some stuff sounds pretty reasonable. That's why we're talking about it as a discussion point. Game Seeker, thank you for the 5, says, Colt, I have been bugging you about getting into VR. MetaQuest 3S is $300 packed in with Batman Arkham Shadow.
You know, that game, that like, I'm literally gonna, I'm not buying a MetaQuest 3. I'm not gonna, JV Smooth, thank you. He's just like, you could leave now on a high note. That was funny. Sorry, it just came into my mind. And you know, someone's gonna misinterpret that, by the way. They're gonna be like, oh, what's he mean by fruits? And I'm like, the oranges. why did you
have to have a lisp when you said that? Oh my God! What did he mean when he says he's going to be knocking fruit?
I'm like, I was talking about the oranges rolling around on the ground that Yasuke just he very meanly spilled all over the floor.
As Risket comes in an orange shirt.
Nice looking oranges. There was a nice looking oranges. What the hell were you just saying before I rudely interrupted?
I wasn't saying anything. This is your show. I'm leaving.
I'm leaving too because JV Smooth told me to leave. He's like, I got to leave in a high note.
I know. What are the couple reports are also, this is kind of funny. Andy Mion said, if I'm saying his name correctly, I probably messed it up by now, said that there's another Assassin's Creed game. The next one in the works is Assassin's Creed Hexe, which is supposed to be like a witch or Wiccan game.
Now that is awesome too. I'm down with that. Is it going to have supernatural?
Yes, I'm sure. But except one employee is complaining that it is their most female girl power game. It'll never see the light of day. Well, some of this I don't really like believe it when I hear it.
Witches tend to be female, by the way, just so people know.
I mean, better anyway. Yeah.
Shout out to McGonagall. Wands up for those who know.
Yes. R.I.P. to McGonagall. Yeah. Or what else was she in? She's in some other famous
stuff.
Was
fucking like hundreds of things. Yeah. Hundreds of things.
We lost Pete Rose too for all you baseball fans.
Yeah, I saw that too. Pete Rose and Mutombo just died as well.
Okay.
Mutombo just died as well. Brain cancer. Jesus, man. Just a crazy day.
Play your games while you got them. Like, maybe don't complain about them so much. Just play them while you still can. Dude, enjoy life.
Now, let me tell you something. I am down with a witches like give me a witch game. Actually, you know what's funny? You know American Horror Story, you know the show, that series that goes on? Great series. I really enjoyed that. They did, I think season 3 was American Horror Story Haven or something. I can't remember the name of it. No, Coven. And it was about the witches. And what's her name from like Fleetwood Mac was in it and all that stuff. What an awesome show. Do that. Hey, Ubisoft, cut the crap. Do that. And then we already know what's nod, wink, wink. We already know what else is coming out very soon. Well,
we lost Christopherson as well. Amazing.
Yeah, we did.
General in Fallout 76. Yeah.
God damn it, Blade.
I don't know. People are always like RIP, but you're talking about people who have had a legendary life, and shout out to those people who have been legendary. With some of us, we just kind of exist, and then we.
Dude, I'm taking a week off when Schwarzenegger dies. I'm taking a week off. I don't want to talk to anybody for an entire week. I'm just gonna cry and watch Predator over and over.
I think you got some time. You got some time on that one.
He ain't going nowhere.
No.
If he bleeds, we can kill it. Anyways, back to business.
Let me go back to business.
Do the Hexen game, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Do that. I want that game.
They were complaining about this Hex game, that it was like, force, taking all masculinity out, stuff like that. And I don't tend to.
They're witches.
No, I don't tend to believe some of these like rage bait things, but I will tell you that what we're seeing with Ubisoft right now, if they've got a witch game in the works, they're going to do everything they can to appease the masses because they're in hot water, big time hot water.
They're going to appease the masses. Well, at least some of the more the older Xbox fans, and of course some other people that dived in there with Splinter Cell. But that's a whole other situation I'm not going to get into. But that's still happening.
I mean, they do want to make a Splinter Cell game, Mag.
Not make, it's done. It's just a matter of what they're doing.
They need to reveal that right now because tweeting about Ezio is not going to help.
Maybe they should just keep quiet for a little while. Let things settle down a little bit.
I mean, they're not quiet. They're still.
I would pipe down if I were them. Keep things calm. Let things calm down for a bit. See how the sales of AC Shadows go, and then take it from there and maybe regroup. You're too big of a company to just fold in. People are like, oh, they're done. They're folding up. It's not like 6 guys sitting in a room. There are literally tens of thousands of employees all over the planet and Ubisoft offices everywhere. Like there's one 30 minutes from my house.
One of their studios has like 800 people that makes Assassin's Creed. One of the Assassin's Creed sets. Yeah.
When I go down to Ubisoft headquarters in Toronto, like I go to Ubisoft Toronto. Not as often these days. But before I was going at least 4 times a year down to the studio to do stuff and things. And and I would go talk to the people. There's a lot of people. Then you got Ubisoft Montreal, you got Ubisoft Quebec, you got Ubisoft all over Canada, all over the United States, Europe, UK. They're everywhere. Italy, all over the place. And you're not just going to say, all right, that's it, guys. Fold it up. That's it. We're done. We're out. It's never going to happen. What could happen, you could have like a hostile takeover at some point, like Vivendi was going to do with them back in the day. They were thinking about buying them out, or they were trying to buy them out. They ended up fighting for their sovereignty. But Tencent will never be allowed to do it because the Chinese government will not wholly purchase a company that's not Chinese. They will invest in the company, and that's a lot of. By the way, that's a lot of. I won't get into it, but what some of the.
Tencent's bought a lot of big things, but.
Yeah, but they're not. But they buy portions of big things.
So who is going to come in and save Ubisoft? Because.
I
talked to someone who said they're probably not going to go bankrupt. Dude. They're probably going to get sold.
Yeah, but the thing is, at the end of the day, the only people that could save them are themselves. You're going to have to release 2, 3, 4 bangers in a row that people are going to play and want, and they're going to have to actually succeed financially and, of course, critically with not only just the critics, but also with the fans. Splinter Cell could do that. And then moving on from that, actually moving into a real Splinter Cell, not a remake of the original. Then, whatever this Assassin's Creed you're going to move on to next. And then you might have to do I don't understand how there was another super chat I think we missed. Did you get that one where he was talking about the bigger problem with Ubisoft was actually their games are a buggy mess.
Yeah, I read Chris R said.
Oh, you did read it.
Quality
Okay,
control,
sorry.
yeah, buggy mess.
Quality control. Sorry, my bad. I
and
that.
I mean, we kind of talked about that earlier about
But that's
how
also the problem. How do you release a Star Wars game sponsored by Disney, even though Disney sucks, but it's still sponsored by Disney? It's a huge company. It's with whatever's going on. You release a Star Wars game where people have fallen through the floor, like you're shooting people point blank range in the face or in the back of the head, and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Characters are disappearing. Entire chunks of stories aren't happening. The poppin' is not even poppin'. You're just like just complete empty spaces where things are supposed to be. And like, what the hell is happening? What are you doing?
Here's a report from Star Wars Outlaws. It was internally called Red Dead Redemption 2 Star Wars is what they referred to it internally. They were trying to emulate the magic. They thought that Star Wars Outlaws was going to be as big and profitable as Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. They also purposely...
Did they have testers? Like, what are we talking about here? Did anybody play it before they released it?
I mean, like I said, I have friends who really like the game, and I'm going to wait for those other patches, and I'm going to give it a total fair shake. Okay? You haven't played it, right?
Shake. No. I'm going to give it a fair shake when the price is significantly reduced. It's patched and it's working great on like I said, once it's patched 1,000 times and it's running well and it's cheap, I'll buy it for and hopefully maybe it'll be enhanced for the Pro. Maybe I'll buy it for the Pro. I don't have a PC, right? So
well, I need to get you on
that's
PC.
my version of a PC is the PS5 Pro. And then I got the Series X, but I'll if they did some extra enhancements, I'll play it on there. But they got to patch the living hell out of it, and then I'll give it the old college try. What the hell?
JV Smooth goes, did anybody walk in the room when they were making it? It's funny because
JV Smooth, thank you, dude. Like he's right.
Was
even
anybody
worse. There?
It's even worse.
They
Here's
thought
what happened.
It was going to be Red Dead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, here's what happened. The team that was making it was massive, right? They're the team that made the division. So the plan was to make a 3 to 4 player co-op Mandalorian Star Wars game with the blessing of Disney. And you would be able to build your Mandalorian, customize your Mandalorian, and play alone or with friends in this Star Wars universe where you go around and do contracts, take people out, live in the open world, do all this really cool stuff, have your own ship like Mando. Awesome. Really awesome. And then at some point, Disney or Ubisoft's massive team decided to make the character a omniracial, androgynous character, which is K-Vess. And they said they purposely, before they were going to make her a Indian character from on the eastern part of the world in India, and they decided to make her kind of ambiguous. So she could be anything. And I think what fans wanted was either the choice to play as a character they wanted to play or be a Mandalorian or just have a really good, gritty Han Solo-like character. And I don't know if they quite get that from the game. I hear the game gets way better midway through, but I'll have to get to that.
Why can't you just, if you're going to create an RPG of that stature, why don't you just have create your own character and you could do whatever you want, like Hogwarts Legacy?
That was great. I love the way that worked.
Yeah, create whatever character you want, how they look. You want to be represented in whatever way? Go ahead, do whatever you want. You want it, you can make them any race, creed, color, religion, whatever the hell you want to do. Go ahead. And I think they should have done. You do the same thing, and then you build it up like an RPG. You build up your outfits, you build out your armor, your this, your that, your weapons, you know what I mean? Like, do that. But I don't think that was the problem, dude. I don't think that was the problem.
I don't think that's the problem either, because
it was the technical aspects of the game were just absolute ass trash, from what I heard. I don't think Cal Kestis is a great character. Me personally, I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't love him either, but the game's fantastic.
Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor.
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order I played on Xbox. I got close to 1,000 achievement points on that. But then Jedi Fallen Order I played, the second one, Survivor, I played on PlayStation, and I got the platinum. I loved the game, but I didn't like the character. I hated Cal Kestis. I think he's I think he's a simp, man. I don't know, just stupid.
He's
always
Brad
moaning
Sams,
about-
bro. He's Brad Sams, literally. He looks like Brad Sams to me.
Just moaning constantly about this, that. And I'm like, dude, just get out of here. But anyways, the point is, doesn't matter. I don't like the character, but I love the game. It was a great game. So you could actually play Star Wars Outlaws and say, listen, I hate this character, but the game is awesome. You would probably still go there and play the game, and it'd sell just as well as, like, you know, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, and any of those games. The problem is they back up the game with bad game. Right?
Yeah,
So like it doesn't make.
I'm asking the audience right now, if you had a choice, like every time, I'll just say every time, like you have to make an absolute decision. Would you rather have a great character like Arthur Morgan or
that's tough, man. That's tough because those.
I know,
those
because
games
there's
well
John
written.
Marston, Arthur Morgan, there's Commander Shepard, there's these great characters you play as in games, but
Kratos,
yeah,
Joel, Master Chief. You know, what's his name? Marcus Phoenix. You can go down the list of, like, from Xbox, PlayStation. I'm not including Nintendo. Xbox and PlayStation and third party of all these great characters. Deacon from Days Gone.
Yeah, I thought he was great.
You know what I mean? Like great characters that you have. I'm in for all those. But sometimes I think if you have an open world RPG, give them the choice of being able to create a character. I think that also too. I think like a very linear game, like your, like your Halos, like your Gears of War. I would say even God of War. I mean, I know you can call it semi-open world, not really open world. It's still linear experiences. For the most part,
you can't shape that story, really, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I would keep those. But the other ones, I think you have the option to do it. But you know, the problem with that too is that when you create these characters, a lot of them are silent, right? Because they don't have a voice actor for them. So you're just like this. Like during a cutscene, your character's just like, standing there like Beaker from the Muppet Show, just, and then, exactly. So it's like, you want that personality in there too, right? But the problem is these days, everybody's such an asshole in this world that everybody everybody feels like, oh, it's not me. I'm like, it doesn't have to be you.
We're not getting great characters. We're not getting great bespoke characters in video games often at all. I mean, I think about a lot of games I play that, like you were talking about, Warhammer Space Marine 2.
Right.
I played the whole game. I couldn't remember what the other two characters are. I remember your main guy's name is Titus, and he had the personality of a saltine cracker, and he had the holes in his head to match it.
Right,
I mean,
right.
there was some stuff there that was cool. There's some cool moments. There's a couple of cool moments there, but he's not a memorable character. Like the very few and far
GTA
between.
6. Like GTA 6. I'm looking forward to seeing that boyfriend girlfriend sort of vibe. Going on. I want to see what's going on with them. I'm excited to play the game. Rockstar, if there's one thing that they do is they develop their characters very well. Like, I mean, look at GTA 5. You had the 3 characters in there. Absolutely amazing. Everybody had their own dynamic. Everybody had their own story, backstory, and then of course, the interactions with each other, and of course with the real world, and it was just incredible. They just absolutely nailed that kind of thing. But not everybody's Rockstar when it comes to character development.
No, I also think one of the biggest problems we're seeing right now in the past 4 years, really, of video game industry, one of the major problems is games are so corporately checkmarked, like where they're committee driven by out of office doors, where they're saying, this is what we're making, this is what it's going to be. And the real creatives that you sit down and say, I've got this character, or I've got this world. I don't think games are made like that. And some of the reports we were getting from Legendary Drops is that in Ubisoft, everyone's just, I'm the narrative designer. I'm doing my job. I make the trees. This guy puts the bark on the trees, and everyone has their head down, and they don't bother to stand up and say, look, why are we doing this? People don't like this sort of thing. People don't like doing trailing missions where you follow an NPC, or people don't like these kind of choices in games. There's no reason to speak up right now because you're getting stomped back down by an entire committee of leadership that's saying, this is what we're doing. This is how the game's going to be. And it's ruined.
Well,
There's a clear divide of what used to happen a few years ago and what we're getting now in games. And everyone's like, well, yeah, but what about Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate? I'm like, yeah, those are called outliers. And I've had tons of fun this generation. I played a lot of amazing games, but then I think, what are my greatest experiences? Some of them have been sequels. Most of them, I think. I don't know. Maybe you guys can see it.
A lot of the problem too is corporations are risk averse because they're so terrified of not making profit, not losing their money, whatever, that they lost. And then this goes for everybody. This goes for Hollywood. This goes for products you purchase for your home. This goes for music. This goes for video games. They all become so risk averse that they become creatively bankrupt to the point where they just are afraid to look at anything outside the box. Why do you think like American cinema, specifically American cinema in the 70s, was revolutionary? Because you had all these young visionary directors. They're saying, I'm making this movie. And the studios are like, all right, go for it. See what you got. And those people were Francis Ford Coppola. Those people, Martin Scorsese. Those people were Steven Spielberg. Those people were
Pee-wee Herman.
Lucas. But yeah, Pee-wee Herman, Brian De Palma. You had all of these great directors. And what do? They shaped cinema for the next 40 years after that.
Breaking ground.
Now
I don't feel like somebody is,
now it's just,
even with Bethesda, like, I don't feel like there is somebody who is like plowing through the world and like just pioneering trailblazing through with an incredible idea. And Starfield does some great things, but it could have done many other things for other people, that the people that don't like it. Like for you, Starfield could have done so many things that would have resonated with fans like you that didn't really like the game, right?
And I love open world RPGs.
I know you do.
Especially open world RPG shooters. That game, to me, was whatever. Anyway, that's a whole other story. It just did not click with me at all.
I understand, bro. Believe me, I understand, because
just wasn't my thing.
I really like the game, and I think all of our complaints are like side by side, because I still have complaints about the game that I like that could have been so much different, maybe a little better. But it is I think until we can get teams who have, that's why the AA and indie scene is killing it, because they're out there saying, well, this is what we want to do. We want to make something incredible. We want to break new ground. And the risk aversion you said from corporations is really the guiding light that is making games for us.
And that's why, for example, we talked about it when Stuttering Craig was on here, when I brought up the comic book industry and how that completely tanked. It's dead now. Marvel and DC are dead. And what's thriving now in the comic world? Independent comics and manga. Not Western comics. They're like, oh, well, we're making Superman gay now. And like, well, you know what? What do you think you're doing? That's why things like that are happening. People are just like, this is ridiculous. Well, that's what the metrics told us. And I'm like, whose metrics? And then so it's all, you know, a couple of people pointed out the checkbox thing too. That's a bunch of baloney. Like, you're like, okay, I got this story. It's going to be 6 people. They're stranded on an island, this and that, whatever. We're going to do this. This is what the game is going to be about. This, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. It's a great idea. I got great dynamics between these people, and there's going to be tension and this and that and romance and whatever. And then some asshole from the top goes, we need 3 females, 1 Asian, 1 disabled person, and 1 person of color. And then you're like, well, that's actually going to mess up my whole story, because I had, you know,
I had all the characters set.
I had 4 males and I had 2 females and I had 1, I had 1 little person or whatever, right? And like that just messed everything up. So then they try to rewrite it, right? And then when they try to rewrite it and they try to do it, then it doesn't work. And then what happens is all of a sudden now you're just trying to build around an ideology that doesn't work. And that's why it doesn't come across as genuine. It comes across as disingenuous, and that's what the problem is across the board. It's got nothing to do with race. It's got nothing to do with color. It's got nothing to do with religion. It's got to do with the fact that it's disingenuous, and it's infected gaming, Hollywood, and comic books, and all other forms of popular media and pop culture in general. And that's the problem. It's lack of genuity, and then therefore that's why the independent scene is coming up the way it is, and people are gravitating towards it. Why do you think this year alone? Look at everybody started gravitating towards the Asian gaming circuit. What are the biggest games of the year? They came out of China. They came out of South Korea. They came out of Japan. The Western games tanked, all of them.
Yeah, you know,
Like, give me like, is this? There's no mystery, folks. There's no mystery. And like I said, don't get my words misconstrued because people are idiots. Has nothing to do with anything. The fact that it's not. It's like I said, it's disingenuous. It's not. It doesn't have that feel of authenticity, and that's where the problems are. Like the biggest show in the 1980s. What was the biggest show in the 1980s? Do you know what it was? I'll tell you. Don't worry, I'll tell you. It was the Cosby Show. It was the Cosby Show.
Oh, you know what someone said? Why did they call it the Cosbys when their last name was Huxtable?
Well, yeah, I guess I just for brand recognition because of him, right?
Right.
What was the, you know, that was the
that was the biggest show, huh?
The biggest show in the 1980s was the Cosby Show.
You know,
right? Well, was one of the biggest show in the 90s.
I was talking to
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh,
and
was?
Then you had Seinfeld, and then you had and they have everybody else and all these other things. And nobody cared. Nobody cared. Oh, look, it's all black people. Nobody said that. Nobody said any of that because it was a genuine story that made sense that people liked and enjoyed.
What's the matter with there's a difference. There's a difference because Hargeet Chani, my good friend, who is Indian and he's an East Coast American, and you know, he's Indian descent, right?
Yeah.
He said, if you want an Indian character in a movie or a video game, have that person make the game. If you want, this person of color or this whatever, have those people make the game. If you want that representation, because you talked about the Prince of Persia game, style game that you really liked, Tales of Zahao. Zoa?
So there was Tales of Kenzera, and then there was
Kenzera.
Raji from
that
India.
One. And you said
they were great games. They were great.
He represented his own culture. He's like, I am from this part of the world. I want to tell my story. And I think we could put all of the stuff aside because we've said a lot of stuff. Two white guys sitting here talking about the politics of colors, right? Well, neither am I. Neither am I. You're Italian. I'm Norwegian, right? Whatever. What I don't know what you'd call us. Whatever. Two human beings here talking about video games when really it's like, what's that?
Said Colt is white. I'm Italian. I'm Latin.
Wait. Okay, so we're gonna fight. That's what you're saying. Okay.
No. You know what, man? At the end of the day, you give me enriching stories. You give me cool stuff that I didn't know about either whatever. I don't give I don't care what culture from, what we're talking about, whatever else. You give me something interesting and exciting, I'm going to like it. I particularly have an affinity for African culture. I have a lot of African culture stuff in my home. I have 2 African cats. I love drinking African tea. Ethiopian tea specifically. Their turmeric tea is beyond anything you can. I always get that stuff. Yeah, so I'm interested in that stuff. When I played Tales of Kenzera, I'm like, wow, this is a fascinating story about it. And it was something that transcends. By the way, it transcends color and creed and race and religion. Why? Because it was about a father and a son, and the son dealing with the loss of his father and the grief of everybody on the planet can relate to that. Doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, and that's why the story worked. It wasn't about look at me, look at me, look at me. There's 3 of us, 2 of them, 3 of us, 2 of them. That's what Disney does, and that's why nobody likes it because they're like, what the hell is this crap? And nobody can connect because there's no connective tissue on a human level that people can look at that and say, this is great. But like I said, a story about a father and son, don't care where you're from. Okay. Yeah, you could be from Timbuktu or you could be from Thailand. If it's a story about a father and a son dealing with the grief of his father, everybody understands, or love or hatred or war. Everybody knows those things. And so you can connect with people. It doesn't matter where you're from or what's going on. And that's where people get lost in the mix. Social media is a bunch of crap. Don't listen to that stuff. It's all nonsense. People fighting on there day and night because you're getting half the story, right? And people jump on the bandwagons. They read the titles, don't read the articles, right? That's always how it goes. So in the end of the day, make stuff that's compelling and people will come to you. And that's all that matters. If you do something disingenuous, people are not stupid. They will see right through it.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
the problem. And to sum up 2 hours and 3 minutes of the show, it's being disingenuous that people are starting to push back and saying, this don't feel right. And because it doesn't feel right, that's why people are pushing back. It's not hatred. It's not racism. Maybe some people, but it's a very small minority. It's not any of that stuff. it's because people are looking at it side-eyed going, this doesn't feel right. And that's where they're losing everything in translation. And that's the problem in the end of all this. I am done speaking for this entire night.
Meg, it was a crazy show. It was. Some of the stuff we didn't get to was some of the reports from Tokyo Game Show. Everyone knows Final Fantasy remasters and StarCraft shooter coming from Blizzard. But I don't really have any other information beyond that. But everyone's been talking about Ubisoft. I really hope they turn things around. They need to get their leadership that makes great games, like Mag said. Get the people who are passionate about doing things right and just make great games. And I think Ubisoft can pull out of this if Assassin's Creed Shadows is great, like if it's an 80-something, because it's just a really good game, and they can't deny that, hey, you feel like you're in the world, it's great. That's great. And whatever they're going to put out next, I don't know Ubisoft's roadmap, but I am not one of those people that wants Ubisoft to just die and that they deserve it. I love their IPs, a lot of them, half of them, and I want them to live. So it's been a crazy show. I hope everything came out okay in the wash. Like I said, you know full well, I try to run a good show here. I am not the most learned person when it comes to culture and sensitivities. And I have my passion about gaming. I want it to be the best it can be. Meg, I appreciate you for having your thoughts and your takes from being around the world and being able to explain this stuff better than I can. Guys, thanks for a crazy, amazing show. We're going to get out of here, and we'll give you the rest of your day back so you can relax and watch football or whatever you're going to do, and we appreciate you. Hit the like button on the way out. Meg, anything you have to say before we go?
I just want to say what an awesome show. That was a wild show. And you know what the thing is? I appreciate that the chat, we're not attacking anybody, going crazy, not fighting with each other, not attacking us. I mean, you can if you want. Really doesn't affect me. But I'm just saying, it's nice to see that this chat is one of the most civilized chats on all of YouTube. I could absolutely tell you that. Because I'm in every chat from every single gaming podcast and whatever, and all the other social media podcasts and everything else in pop culture. I'm there. I'm always there. I might not be in the chat, but I'm there lurking, and I read and I see. I even see people from all over. Kung Fu Hot Dog, I saw you the other day on Az's show. Don't think I didn't see you there. I saw you there, dude. You were on Afternoon Tea with Az. I saw you send him a super chat. I didn't see you sending us a super chat, but that's okay. I'll forgive you once. Anyways, great show, great topics. Let's talk about what's coming up like in the next little while. I'm excited to see what games are going to be coming out. I mean, we got a couple of horror games coming out on the PlayStation side. We've got on the Xbox and everywhere else. We got Call of Duty coming out. We got Indie Jones dropping in the next couple of months. There's a lot of fun things to talk about, man. I look forward to seeing how these guys, how these folks, how their games come to fruition, and hopefully they turn out great. So yeah, keep it gaming. Keep it positive, keep it happy, and we'll see you guys all next week, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. You guys go play some Shattered Space if you're into Starfield, or go find some old crusty game to bring back from the dead and enjoy it. I'm going to do the same. You guys are amazing, like Mag said. Thank you, chat, for being very cool. Special thanks to you, Donna Kizan and Happy Bomb, for keeping the chat very nice. You guys are amazing. What a great audience. We don't deserve you. We're amazing. You guys are great. Hit the like button. We're going to go. Mag, I'll talk to you later on. And we'll see you next week with more exciting news from the annals of the video game world circuit of the X&C podcast. I just stalled Wi-Fi on the button. Bye, guys. We'll see you. See ya. Bye, Mike. Thanks. You suck.